All right, in the previous video, I went through and I explained all of like the kind of physics and some of the math that goes into getting our code working, getting our robot kind of working appropriately. Um, Now we need to actually turn this into code. So let me open up my Android Studio and we're gonna work through some of the code on this. I have things set up already. Um, yeah, so I already have some just basic initialization set up. I'm gonna have to do one thing to begin with, and I want to just make a quick demonstration for why that is. Um, One thing I need to make sure, I need to do left stick. Well, I just want to demonstrate something real fast. It's kind of caught me up when I was doing this previously, and I just want to make sure I'm really explicit about showing it to you. So as we do init, all I'm doing here is just checking the Y stick, but if I press it all the way up, I'm getting -1. And as we're doing our math, that's really going to mess us up because we expect the Y values up here to be +1 and Y is down here to be -1. But the gamepad, for whatever reason, works opposite of that. So here's what I'm going to do in my code just to kind of fix that. I want to do something like, I'm going to make a double. So I'm going to make a decimal value called like Y stick, Y stick, yeah, Y stick is fine. And I'm going to make that equal to negative of the gamepad 1 left stick Y value. You're probably also, if I had to do anything with the right stick, I'd have to do something similar to that. But I just want to flip that real fast. All right, what do I need to do to begin with? I need to calculate my heading first. So we're going to deal with this thing. In order to get my heading, double heading is going to be equal to, I'm just going to use my sticks. I'm going to use the sticks to figure out kind of what heading I'm pointing at. And again, we talked about in the previous video about using atan2. We'll generate we don't have to worry about quadrants. For those of you who know about quadrants, we don't have to worry about this. It's just going to get us the correct angle kind of no matter what Y and X we put in there. Might get us a positive, might get us a negative. We won't go too much into details of that just for the sake of our class. For those of you wondering like why there could be negative ones in there. But we're not going to worry too much about that just because we don't have forever. All right, we're going to get the heading directly out of this. One other thing I'll note, again, just kind of for those of you who have some math background, this is actually going to work, Java's going to work entirely in radians. I'm going to try and do this in degrees a little bit. So I'm going to convert between those, even though it's kind of unnecessary. I'm going to have to convert to degrees and convert back, but that's okay. For those of you who aren't sure what this means, what I'm talking about, radians is just another measurement, another way you can measure angles. You could use degrees, you can also use radians. So I'm going to say math.2 degrees heading. And we'll get the heading out of there. And let's just do, I want to say like heading degree. Okay, and let's just, again, I just want to kind of do this piecemeal. You can skip through this if you trust that it's going to work, but I like to piecemeal show that this is going to work because this is how I would actually build something. I'm making sure, yeah. So nice one. Oh, and I was really dumb. And this is why I need to actually test my code as I'm running, because I made a really dumb mistake. I just talked about why I need to do this as Y, because it's going to be, because I was getting a -90 degrees when I was pointing forwards, I should have been getting a positive 90 degrees. So let's try that again. This is why you test them. Make sure things are working the way that you want them to. Now when I press forward, I should get 1 -90. This is 0, and then we're increasing all the way over to 180 before getting into the negatives. Go back down. Okay, so that's working appropriately. We have the heading working. We've collected the heading. Let's see, one thing we did talk about here in our original one was that the gamepad thinks this is 0 degrees, but for us, we want 0 degrees to be facing directly forward. So there's about a 45-degree difference between that. We can get into the math a little bit, but by convention, if we're going counterclockwise, we are subtracting angles. So in order to go from our gamepad angle to our robot angle, we're going to subtract 45 degrees from our value. So let's go back into here, and I want to say let's say gamepad, or no, we want to say double robot heading is going to be equal to heading in degrees minus 45. And also I'm going to need to do this it's going to want radians eventually. So I'm going to say, I'm also going to convert this back into radians. Just a different way of measuring angles for those of you who aren't familiar with it. All right, so now I have my robot. I have collected the heading from my game stick. I've converted it to what the robot thinks it is. And now let's use that to calculate our, oh, we can't quite calculate these yet. We have our, this is our theta now. We know what angle, we've made that conversion. We do need to calculate our speed. So I'm gonna make another double called speed. And it's going to be equal to math. We're gonna take the hypotenuse of gamepad. And again, I think I need to do the Y stick here. Should matter because it might take us, yeah. It's actually probably where it matters the most, because if we have speed using our hypotenuse, it might go down. I don't know. We'll see about that. And then we're going to do, I could also make a separate variable for the left, for the Y part of that stick, but or for the X part of that stick, but I'm not going to bother. All right, so now I need to do, need to make some double powers. And make some doubles. I'm going to say, I'm going to do it in this convention, right front power is going to be equal to math dot sine of robot heading in radians. That's right. Oh, and then we need to multiply by speed too. That's important. If we don't multiply by speed, it's really going to look weird. Down here, and this also needs to be right front power should be the same as left back power. Should be sines and then cosines for the other two. And it's the same exact thing, but we're going to do cosine. I'll be really happy if this works on the first try. We'll see. So now it has to be the opposite. So right back power is equal to, but this is equal to the same exact thing. Let's see. Now we have all that power. And now we just need to set it. Now we just need to say let's get our motors back left dot set power left back power. And then we need to say front right. I hate how I did these naming conventions. I should have done them more like in sync with each other, but that's okay. Just where we're at, right front. And then we should do front left set power left front. And then we need to do right back power dot set power. Is that right? No, not right front power, right front. Front right. No, not that. Too tired. Back right. There we go. Opposite should be equal to. All right, let's try and run this and let's see how we do. I think everything should be good. I think we have the speed set. Let's go into Mecanum practice. We're gonna init start. Let's hit this. We're gonna be able to drive in any direction. And that's how we convert our physics and our math into code.